Alright, so in this video, which will be a series of about 5 parts, I'm going to show you how to get set up with your drawing in OnShape to create a fidget spinner, which you'll see right over here. That's my drawing that I had before. So to do this, we first have to, of course, start to make a dock. So I'm just going to put my last name and I'm going to put fidget spinner. Click enter and our workspace will load. So in this part, all we're doing is making the drawing of the fidget spinner so then in the next video we can extrude it. So I've made all of these parts into smaller sections of this big project so it's a little bit easier for you to follow, and so you can just jump to whatever step you need to either see explained a little bit further, or if you missed it, you could just always go back to that part of the project. So like I said, we have to create this 2D drawing to start. So to do that, we're going to click on our top view on our view cube right over here. We'll click on here and click on sketch. All right, so we're going to be looking at the top down on our sketch. Now on a fidget spinner, there are bearings, right? What are there? 4 bearings. There's 1 in the middle and 3 on the outers of that fidget spinner. So we have to make that middle bearing first. So that's kind of like our starting point for our drawing. So what we're going to do first is get a center point circle from our toolbar, snap it right onto the origin, right? So it's highlighted yellow, and you can make it whatever size you want right now. It doesn't really matter because we're going to go up here and change the dimensions to what an actual size of a fidget spinner actually is, which is kind of cool. So what you're going to do is you're going to make this circle 0.87 inches. Right, so that's the actual dimensions of this middle bearing of a fidget spinner. All right, so now we have to make the other 3, right, that go around this middle bearing. All right, so what we're going to do is, again, take that circle tool, and you'll see here, like we did before, we snapped it to the origin, which you're not going to do again, but you're just going to hover over that yellow origin, and if you go up, you'll see that vertical line there that's blue, but on top of it, for me right now, it's yellow. So that's what you want to see. You want to see that dotted yellow line, and you're going to snap your next circle onto that dotted yellow line, so it's perfectly vertical from the one that we just made. So I'm going to snap it anywhere, like that. Now, instead of dimensioning this circle again, which you can do if you would like to, we're going to do kind of a shortcut. So what you're going to do is go to the top tool section where it says equal. You're going to click equal, and you're going to highlight the circle that we already dimensioned, which is the 0.87. Then you're going to click on the new circle that we made, and you'll see really quickly it's snapped to the 0.87 inches for me already, so I don't even have to dimension it, which is kind of nice, and type that all in. If you want to type it in, go for it, but this is just an easier way to do that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a dimension line from the top of this circle to the middle of this circle, right? Because that's how we're going to make the dimension distance apart between those 2 circles. So I'm going to take my dimension line and I'm going to click on the top of this top circle that we just made. Then you'll see this crazy little line with 2 arrows coming around it, and you're going to point that downwards right to the origin. So snap it right onto that middle dot. It should turn orange, or turn yellow, I should say. Then you'll take your new dimension line, right? So like I said, it's the distance between the top of that circle there to the middle of the origin, and you're just going to slide it over so you can see that bad boy. And we're going to change this dimension to 1.65. Now we're doing this because the actual dimensions of the fidget spinner from the top to the bottom is about 3 inches, but the next circle that we're going to put is going to be a little bit less than 1.65, right? So that's why we're making this distance first. So then the other one just goes right to 3. So now what we have to do is we need to put material around this circle to hold that bearing in place. So what we're going to do is grab another circle and snap it to the middle of the circle and make the circle bigger than the circle that's actually there. So we want to extend that blue circle line, snap it, and then we're going to change the dimensions on this one. So it's not going to be equal, so we have to click on the dimension line. And we're going to make this 1.25 inches. Click enter, and you're good to go. So now, like I said before, right, there are 3 around this whole entire circle, this middle bearing right here, right? So we need 2 more. Now you might say, oh my gosh, Miss Dolch, like I have to make 2 more around this thing. How am I gonna get it equally spaced, right? Like I know that would annoy me too. But in OnShape, there's something really cool, right? That actually spaces it out for you and makes a pattern so you don't have to go through the trouble of making this all over again, which is really nice. So on yours, it'll probably say there's going to be like 4 squares and I'll say linear pattern. But there's this little drop down arrow next to it, so I want you to click that and you'll see that there's a circular pattern, which is pretty awesome. So it'll do it for you. So now since we have that selected, we have to choose what we want to pattern. So like I said, we need 2 more of these, right, with the inner and outer circle to go around that middle bearing. So we're going to click on the inner circle. So now you'll see the inner circles pop up around equally. And we need to press the outer circle. And there we go. Now, don't do this. I'm just going to show you what happens if you do, because you might be like, whoa, a lot's going on right now. Which, yes, a lot is going on. So you'll see here there's a little arrow. This will just show you it rotating around, right, that middle origin, right? So you can move it closer together, but we want it equally around, so I'm going to leave it the way it is. And if you also go to that middle origin, right, as you see how it's highlighting, you can pick that up and move it crazily around here, right, however you want. But you want to make sure that it's snapped to that middle origin so it's equally all around. That is extremely important. So, also you'll see up here, there's a 3x. So right now, there's 3 of these bad boys. But let's just say we wanted more, which we don't, but I'm going to just show you, just so you could see. I could add 5, right, and then I could extend the circle around to make them all equal. Or I could have 10 if I wanted. So that tool is kind of cool, but I'm going to put it back to 3, right, because that's what we want. And then you'll see over here, there's like a little mouse with a green check mark. That's just telling you that you need to confirm this sketch before it turns black. So what I'm going to do is just click, and there we go. We have our sketch ready to go to add our curves now onto it. So your sketch should look like mine right now. It should not be blue. It needs to be black. So make sure you check that out before you go to the next step. So now what we have to do is we need to make the arches to connect these 3 circles or these 3 bearings together, right? Because we need to make this into one solid shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the 3-point arch. All right, so we're going to click on that, and like I said, 3 points. Okay, so we're going to click once on one of our circles. We're going to click again on the circle that's adjacent to it. And then you'll see here you could change the radius. So we don't want the radius going out, right? Because that doesn't look like a fidget spinner. We want the radius going inward to that middle bearing. So you can just put it anywhere for now, and it'll turn blue. Now, I keep saying make sure your drawing is not blue, because like we could see here, right, if it's blue, it's still available to edit and manipulate. And we want it to be firm in place, no touching able to happen. So what we're going to do to make that turn black is, first off, we have to change the radius of this. So we'll do that first. So get your radius button out here, well, your dimension button, and we're going to change this to 1-inch radius. So that looks already a little bit better. But again, like I said, we want to make sure that this turns to black and it's still blue. So we want to go up to this top row, kind of where we got the equal button before, and we want to go to the tangent button. So it's like a sideways slanted line with a ball or a little circle underneath. It kind of looks like a little seesaw. And you're going to click that for me. Then what I want you to do is click on your blue line, and then click on the outer rim of that circle that it's attached to, and you'll see it like moved for mine. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. And now, ta-da, it turned black, right? That's exactly what we want. Now, yes, of course, you can do this exact thing that I just did here for this side and the bottom side. But we don't have to do it all that work again for this side at least. So I'm going to show you what you can do. So we could just mirror it, right? Because one side is going to be symmetrical to the other side. So what you're going to do is on the top here, there is the mirror button right next to the pattern button. And you're going to click on that. After you click on it, this little window is going to pop up and it's going to say select a mirror line. Now we have to select that line that's going to make everything symmetrical, right, from one side to the other. So that line is going to be the center line where the origin is found. So you're going to highlight that yellow. I'm just going to click on it from up here just because I can see it better, right? And we could maybe click on this line, but I want to make sure I'm clicking the right line. So I'm going to click on it up here, that solid yellow line. And now it turned yellow. All right, so nothing really happened yet. But now it says select the entities to be mirrored. So this is what do you want to mirror, right? So we have to figure that out. So like what I said before, right? Instead of drawing that arch, we're going to mirror it. So we want that arch to be selected to mirror onto the other side. And there we go. All right, I just clicked on the line and it pops up on the other side, which is pretty sweet, right? No work needed there. It just does it for us. Then we could just click escape, right, on our keyboard, and your sketch should look like this so far. So now we need something for the bottom arc. So we can't mirror it, right, because there are two arcs on top, and if we mirrored it, we don't need two arcs, we just need one. So you're just going to do what we did again for that first arc. Then click on the 3-point arc on one circle, then the other circle, curve that in, right? And now you'll see our shape shaded in, right? It's like a full model, right? It's going to be totally solid, which is what we want. We don't want it to be white. We want it to be shaded in gray, so we know it's enclosed. But like I said before, we see that blue line, so we have to fix that. So first, we got to dimension this, and the radius is going to be 1. And then again, we have to do our tangent, right, to turn that line totally black. So you're going to click on your circle and click on the tangent line. You'll see it moved a little bit. Click on the circle on the other side, click on the tangent line. Now it turned black. So everything, if I get out of here, I'll click escape. But everything is black. All of my lines are black. They're not blue. And everything inside is shaded. This is what you want before going on to the next step. If something is blue, you need to make sure you go back and fix that. Once you get to this point and your sketch is complete, you're going to rename your sketch, right? Because when we start adding extrusions in the next video, in the next part of this project, or making the bearings and making the cap, it might get a little confusing and we need to know what everything is. We can't guess. So what we're going to do is rename this spinner body. Click enter, click the check mark, and we're good to go. So I'll rotate this a little bit so you can see it, but there we have it. We have our drawing ready to go for extrusion, which is the next video.